What's up, YouTube? We're over here at the Gobuku Studios. It's your host, RZ, along with
Kito.
Pretty sure you know us by now from all our movie reviews. But today, we just finished, or tonight I should say, we just finished seeing Spider-Man Far From Home, the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming that just came out. So we're going to give our thoughts on it. And just so you know, any thoughts we are giving, there will be spoilers from anything in previous movies. That includes Avengers Endgame. So if you do not want to see any Endgame spoilers, you might want to watch that before you watch this review. However, if you don't want to see spoilers on just this review, then you can just stay away from that time up there. Otherwise, that's the time we will be talking about spoilers. So without further ado, this is going to be a very interesting review because both of us actually have very different thoughts on the movie. So I guess I'll just start off with my general thoughts. I feel like if you... I can tell you right now, if you liked how Homecoming rebooted the franchise for the third time pretty much, or second time I should say, you're going to like this movie. However, if you did not like what Homecoming did, this is kind of more of the same, kind of taken to the next level. They're going all in on it. So I feel like if you didn't like that type of, reboot to the series, you're not going to like Far From Home. With that being said, I thought it was a really good movie personally. It had a lot of good moments for me, a lot of good payoffs for if you are a Marvel fan and have watched the other Marvel movies. And overall, to me, it was just a fun time. It was something that after Endgame, we needed a little bit of a break. We needed a little bit of a softer moment. And this movie kind of did it before leading us into Phase 4 of Marvel. But that's my general thoughts.
You said it was a fun time. For me, it was dreadful. I did not like this movie. I will say this though, it is better than Homecoming by a little bit, just a little bit. But other than that, this movie is the same cheesy movie that I saw when I saw Homecoming, and I do not like the whole high school aspect of Peter Parker. It's just the way Marvel just kind of introduce his friends and stuff and all that. It's just, for me personally, I like more serious movies, and I just very corny. Didn't make me laugh. It was just I did not enjoy the movie. I regret spending $15 to see this movie.
Another interesting thing with this movie is there's two facts about it that are pretty interesting. Number one, it's actually the shortest or one of the shortest Phase 3 movies. So with that being said, there were a lot of parts in the trailers and whatnot. Like there's an entire, I don't know if I'll put it on the green screen here, but there was a scene where like he was in a bank stopping these bank robbers when Peter still had the Avengers suit. And he was telling him, yo, I'm about to go on my vacation, go to Venice or whatever. And that's not even in the freaking movie at all, dude. It's crazy to think that, like, there's so much. And I could tell there's parts of the movie that definitely felt like there was cut content. Like they were trying to just make a deadline rather than go all in. And I guess for like someone like you, that probably would be better because you just want the thing to be over with. But for someone like me, I wanted more context. We can talk in general about what you thought about the villain, Mysterio.
Better than Vulture, but not by a lot. Trust me. I was a sucker for the trailer. I saw him shooting lasers, well, not lasers, but shooting like that mist stuff from his hands, and I honestly thought he was using magic.
Yeah, it's weird because Mysterio has always been like a joke villain to me. I always felt like it would be better to have him as like a side villain in a movie, like how some movies put multiple villains at once. I feel like he'd be the perfect guy to just be like one of the mini arcs. You just stop him, get it over with, he's like a joke, and then he's out of there. But this movie focuses on him actually a lot. It's like the centerpiece.
I do like the actor, Jake Gyllenhaal. He especially towards the beginning of the movie, because he tries to like, I guess, relate with Peter Parker and just try to understand where he's coming from with the whole him, being like, liking MJ and all this and stuff. And I like that part. But then when it kind of like flips the script and then he kind of like...
We'll get into that later. But I'll let you know. Yeah, if you know Mysterio, you do know what happens. But we'll get into that with spoilers. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. For the basic premise, though, I feel like it had a good amount of action, good amount of... If you like that type of comedy, it has the good amount of comedy. And the other thing is, if you like the friends from Homecoming, you're going to get a lot more of them. They do explain in the beginning of the movie what they call the blip, the snap, like how people aged.
That was a lame
Yeah,
name.
I mean, a lot of stuff in this movie are lame names. We'll get into that later. But they explain how some people, are 5 years ahead of the original people that got snapped away and whatever. Or I think it's the other way around. I don't
No,
remember.
no, you got it.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting to see that like these characters, this group of students that are going on the trip are like. It's kind of convenient that they all pretty much got snapped away.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense when you think about it because
Peter did. Oh yeah, he did.
he did get snapped. Peter, the Asian kid, the fat Asian kid must have, and MJ, pretty much that whole main cast, from Homecoming got snapped away, which does not make sense. But okay, whatever. We digress.
But overall, there are a lot of like little details and whatnot that we'll get into with spoiler talk. But I liked a lot of the actors. I forget his name. You were telling me he's a comedian. The black dude who was the teacher. Yeah, I think he was pretty funny. I think that, like you said, Jake Gyllenhaal was really good as Mysterio. And there were a lot of side characters that were in the movie, too, that I really liked. And then Nick Fury, obviously. He's always Nick Fury. If you like that type of acting from him, you're going to get more of it here. But I guess, we won't want to keep this too long because it is a bit of a shorter movie. So we're just going to go into our scores for the movie here, and then we'll get right into spoilers. So I guess I'll go first. For me, I don't know if I can rate this better than Homecoming. When Homecoming first came out, we just came off of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and to me, anything was better than that movie. I did not like the Amazing Spider-Man series, and Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. So for me to really judge that harshly and then go to Homecoming, I was like, this is amazing. So at first, when I first saw Homecoming, I was like, this is better than Spider-Man 2. But now that I'm looking back at it, I can't even really say that. Is it more charming? Maybe. But Far From Home takes what Homecoming did and pushes it to the next level, which I believe definitely bumps the score up for me from what Homecoming was. So I'm going to give this one a solid 8 out of 10. I feel like there's a lot that could have been done and a lot of cut content that we definitely needed to see. Maybe it'll be in the Blu-ray release, whatever. But I'd say 8 out of 10 is my score. I thought it had a good amount of comedy. The action scenes, especially near the end, were good. However, in the first part of the movie, there wasn't much action, if any at all, really. So that kind of bumps it down for me. And if you don't like the high school aspect, if you don't like just having teens chilling with each other and having banter, you're probably not going to like this movie too much. But if you're just going in after Endgame, one of the more soft movie, nothing that's too serious, too epic, too grandiose or whatever they call it, then I'd say this is a good movie to see. So 8 out of 10 is my final score.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I mean, if I would say if I get with Homecoming, I probably would have given that 3 out of 10. This movie just a 4 out of 10. It's like Riyad said, it kind of pushes on the whole Homecoming theme, the whole high school thing. I'm not a fan of the humor of this movie at all. It's just there's something I can't get into it. It's very corny. It's not my type of humor. I like Tom Holland as Spidey. I think he's a lot better than Andrew Garfield, but he's no Tobey Maguire. I feel like with the original Spider-Man series, they kind of got it right, especially with the first one. I mean, it's outdated when you watch the movie now, but with this, it's just like, I don't know. It's too corny. It's too cheesy. It doesn't really feel real. But maybe that's like, that's Marvel. Maybe that's just my bias, and that's just the way Marvel likes to roll. But I mean, 4 out of 10 for me. And I mean, the action scenes were a lot better than the first. Better than Homecoming. The villains. I'll say this much. I like the villains from Amazing Spider-Man more than I like the villains from this.
Wow.
Yeah, I like Electro, and who's the first villain from the lizard guy. To me, they were a lot more serious, a lot cooler than the villains in these movies. I mean, if you like this type of humor and you like this type of this type of if you liked Homecoming, yeah, you'll like this movie. But I mean, if you're more of a serious guy that or gal that likes more serious movies, you might not like it. But
let me ask you this before we go into spoilers. What were your thoughts on Spidey in Infinity War and Endgame from what you saw of him?
I mean, in Endgame, he's not really around. Infinity War, I loved him in Infinity War because he was actually he was part of the team for helping fight Thanos. And the thing with that is there's no cheesy humor to divert your attention from the action. Like, it's for me, the main thing that I don't like about these two movies is the humor. The humor just really kills it for me. And then, like, I know Marvel like isn't really like known for its humor, but even with the other movies, like, you know, the Iron Man, Thor, like, I feel like the humor in those movies was a lot better than these movies.
Interesting. Because, no, to me, like, there's a lot of that stuff in Infinity War, especially, where, like, when he's talking to Doctor Strange, he's like, oh, yeah, we're using our real names. And then he starts making, like, movie references and all this stuff. And I feel like, isn't that the same type of comedy, though, that they're kind of using here?
Not really. This is more centered around kids. Like, this is more high school teenager stuff. Like, this feels like you're watching like a team sitcom or something. Like, I can't take it serious. I mean, I like Spider-Man. I really do. I love Spider-Man as a hero. He's one of the coolest heroes of all time. But the humor for me just kills it. It doesn't make me see Spider-Man in the same light that, like, let's say Toby with his version of Spider-Man or Andrew with his version of Spider-Man, even though he sucked ass. At least the action in the movie, like, at least the humor wasn't so, like, cheesy to the point where it diverted your attention from the action. So, like, yeah.
Gotta agree with you on Toby. Like, Toby is definitely one of the best, but I don't know. Tom Holland, to me, he's capturing the original intent of the character more. But I don't know. I didn't really read the comics like that. Anyways, so we're going to get into spoiler talk now. We're going to go, I mean, we probably won't go through the entire every scene of the movie, but there's some things that I want to talk about that were pretty eye-opening to me in going into Phase 4, as well as, you know, I'm definitely interested to see what's going on next in Marvel. I'm not going to, after Endgame, I thought I was going to drop off. After seeing this movie, I mean, especially after when we're going to talk about the after credits and whatever, I'm interested. I want to see where they're going to go with the other heroes, what's going to happen, who's going to be introduced that's new. But I guess, like, to start off the movie, like I said, there's a lot of cut scenes. I think they just wanted to get right into going on the trip. And from the beginning, you know that this is the thing I didn't like. I didn't want them to do, and I saw them hinting at it in Homecoming, but I didn't want that. I wanted MJ and Peter to just be friends. I just wanted them to chill, be like, you know, sidekicks, like how he is with Ned, his other friend. I just wanted them to be like friends, and she would help him out. Kind of like if any of you have played the Spider-Man PS4 game, how MJ is to Peter in there, where they've already had the relationship, they're broken up, but she's kind of still like there as like a sidekick kind of character and helps him out with his adventures and inventions and all this other stuff. But they went the full route of MJ and Pete hooking up, and that, you know, that happens later in the movie, but like from the beginning of the movie, he's like, I want to go do this. I want to go be with her, blah, blah, blah. And to me, that right there, as soon as the movie opens, I'm like, ugh. That just annoyed me. I don't know. What do you think about the romance stuff? Because there's like a bunch of it.
I didn't like it either. I mean, I get it. It felt like they had to put it in there to kind of like move the story along. But I mean, it's just as cheesy as the humor. Like, I mean, it's Spidey like talking to what's that Asian kid's name? Ned. He's like, like what do I do? This is my plan. This, that, and that. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking like, dude, you're Spider-Man. Like, why do you care so damn? I mean, I get it. It's MJ, but it doesn't even look like MJ. Like, that girl is what? She's Samoan or something? Zendaya. Whatever. Isn't MJ supposed to have red hair? And how is MJ taller than him? That's another thing that bothered me. Well, this girl is like at least 3 inches taller than the dude.
That's also true. I don't know. The other thing is, like, you gotta... Homecoming, like this series of Spider-Man, they didn't want to just redo what they did with Amazing and the original, so they wanted to change the characters up. I understand that. Like, look at freaking Aunt May, man. Like, she's still hot as hell.
I like Aunt May. She's so hot. I don't blame Happy for wanting to tap that.
Yeah, that's the other thing we open up with, right? You see Happy, like, they're just flirting, and Peter's at that conference or whatever, and I mean, that's another thing, you know, Happy and Aunt May stuff.
I like that romance more than I like the whole thing with Peter and
there's
and
three
MJ.
romances. There's Peter and MJ, Ned and the other chick.
Yeah, they're the top. They're the top. Ned and the other chick are on the top. Then Happy and Aunt May. Then Peter and...
Wait, really? You like Ned and the other chick?
It was a little funny, a little bit. Maybe I smirked in some of the scenes, but still cheesy.
Okay. No, but you get, you know, Peter's coming off of Endgame, right? Tony's dead. Iron Man's gone. So now everyone is looking at him as the next Iron Man, like kind of just they've self-inducted him to be the leader of the new Avengers or whatever. And he doesn't want that. He's still a kid. He's only 16 years. He's in high school. He doesn't want all that responsibility. So he's kind of pushing it all away. And Nick Fury tries to contact him. He's like, nah, I'm not having any of that. He doesn't even take his suit to Venice. Aunt May has to pack it for him. And it ends up eating away at him. Things just continuously pound on him to be this person he doesn't want to be. And I think that's one of the best themes about the movie to me is, while you may not think you're ready for something, sometimes it's kind of in a way destined to be, or it's sort of like passing the torch without actually legit passing it. Because Iron Man I would say he kind of told Peter in the past movies, like, I know I want you to be better than I am, but without actually, outright saying, hey, you're going to be the next Iron Man. And I don't know, what do you think about that whole theme of, Iron Man continuously reoccurring, and then finally Peter, accepts it in a sense?
I mean, you see Peter kind of dealing with the whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Dealing with the loss and the internal conflict. But to me, it didn't really seem like the focal point. To me, the focal point seemed more about him just wanting to be with his friends and him wanting to expand his relationship with MJ more.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense because, he's a 16-year-old and he just wants a normal life. I understood that. But it doesn't really focus on the whole his connection to Iron Man until with Nick Fury, then the glasses with the Edith, because then he gets a little note or whatever. But then it's not really until that scene in the plane with Happy. That's where you kind of it kind of really comes back, and you really see Peter say how he feels about the whole thing. But to me, it's you know how he feels about it, but it's his focus is more on the trip, and that's what the first half of the movie kind of focuses on, is the trip.
Well, I think the other thing is he wants to go on the trip to get away from that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to think about Iron Man. He doesn't want to think about any of that. But it continuously comes back to kind of haunt him until he confronts it head on. Mm-hmm. And we see that a lot. But talking about the Edith thing, that was one of the dopest things.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. Especially when the whole satellite in space.
Yeah, Tony
and then
has the entire satellite.
A whole satellite with Stark Industries, and then all you see is just a drone coming out of just one drone. And there's the scene where he was trying to get the picture away from.
Yeah, we're kind of jumping around, but.
Basically the guy, what was the dude's name? Brad is also in love with MJ. Oh wow,
it's a love triangle thing.
It's it's cheesy. It's like a sitcom. I'm gonna show this picture to MJ, and then she'll like me. And then you see Peter trying to get rid of the image by using this super high tech technology, but he accidentally tries to kill Brad, and then it's just.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit because basically Peter goes to Venice. Nick Fury was trying to contact him. He does contact him. The movie actually opens with Mysterio fighting this rock demon or rock golem, but we end up finding out all that stuff's illusions because Mysterio sucks. He can't do anything without technology, which don't get me wrong, it's cool that he has the technology, but it's still dumb that he doesn't actually have powers. But you see Nick Fury, he tries to tell Peter, hey, look, Mysterio is a good guy, and you are a good guy, so you guys got to work together to stop this because all the rest of the Avengers. That's one thing I didn't like, though. You're telling me every other superhero is out of commission? Every other superhero? Well, there's no way.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
If Nick Fury, I understand we're gonna get into after credit scene as to why this could potentially be a plot not be a plot hole. But if they thought this was a thing that could destroy the entire Earth, you're telling me they wouldn't call the Avengers from wherever they're at?
At least get
Falcon or someone.
At least get Captain Falcon or get who get somebody, bro.
Yeah, like Bucky is there.
Yeah,
Ant-Man. He's still around.
Ant-Man. You really couldn't contact any of these people?
And again, the after credit scene I think definitely has a hint towards why that's the case. But anyways, he thinks Mysterio is cool. Mysterio and Peter, like you said, they have a really good connection. And Quentin Beck, the full human version of him, have a really cool connection. And it sucks that it ends up being fake because obviously Mysterio ends up being. But that scene was cool in the bar.
I like that. Sorry to interrupt, but You know what also pissed me off? Quentin Beck's whole backstory. How they explained about the multiverse. Because basically...
Well, it's fake, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Which pisses me off. Because I wanted that to be real. Like, you know how that opens up the possibilities to so many cool things. And then just the fact that it was fake. No, I digress.
I don't think it's fake, though.
What, the multiverse?
Yeah, I don't think it's fake.
Well, I mean, maybe they hinted at it the movie because like it was a fake story, but I could see them like coming back to it and be like, oh no, it's real. You know?
Yeah, I feel like Mysterio's version of the story is fake, but like that the multiverse does exist in the Marvel universe.
I hope so. That there's a lot of possibilities with that. Let's just say that.
But yeah, like you were talking about Mysterio, like I think that entire scene where they're at the bar and they're talking, and then after the fact, Peter. Oh, there's one scene where before I'm sorry, we keep jumping around, but I just want to talk about this in going back to the Iron Man thing. Mm-hmm. There's one scene in the bus where you're talking about with the drone, right? Yeah. He punches Flash, gets the glasses back, and then he does the drone and he stops the drone.
His name is Flash?
Flash Thompson, the dude that's live streaming all the time.
That's Flash?
That's Flash, yeah. You didn't know that? My God, yo. You are not keeping up with this at all.
Bro, this is how much I did not give a This is how much I didn't care about Homecoming.
Well, whatever. Anyways, he punches that guy, does the drone thing. You know what was really interesting to me is after he makes the drone explode and he gets like pushed back to the bus, Peter, he looks exactly like Tony. The hairstyle gets exactly like Tony's hairstyle was, and he has the glasses on. He looks exactly like Tony in that scene, and I love that. I feel like that was one of the parts that brought the whole him becoming Iron Man full circle. But anyways, back to what I was talking about with the bar. What do you think of that scene when Mysterio is kind of revealing his plans and how he used to work for Iron Man, and then there was flashbacks of all these other people?
The flashbacks were cool because I mean it's like a hint to like the some of the other movies. Mm-hmm. I like that, but just the whole like that scene was really where like for me Mysterio just it was like done. I thought he was like actually like this cool character, and then that's when he got up on the thing. I'm like, oh no, what is he doing? And then then I see like the illusions just coming apart, and I'm like, what's going on? And then he starts explaining things, and then I didn't know how to feel about it because it's like at first I'm like, okay, so this guy had this vendetta against Iron Man, or maybe he was just so like his ego was so big about his technology being called barf that it put him on a mission to become a hero himself. It was just
kind of reminds me of like Incredibles.
Yeah, with Syndrome. Yeah, he kind of even looks like him too with the whole
exactly. Yeah. I was like that's like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, wait a sec, I've seen this plot before.
That was really, for me, that was where where I lost all respect for the villain.
Damn. Well, I like the character. I think he was a really cool character, and the payoff in the end, I'm trying to think what else happened. There's an entire school trip. There's some funny scenes in there for me personally, but
there was the fight scenes. I mean, there was the action scenes. Yeah. Well, the first action scene with the water elemental, which was pretty cool. I thought that one was cool. Then it was the fire elemental, which I thought was a little underwhelming. Not compared to the water one, I was not as excited for the fire one.
That's when we find out that it's all an illusion. Did you catch it when Peter he tried to web the Ferris wheel and he caught the thing? That was his thing. He caught the thing and then it swiped it to MJ and she found it in the alley. The projector.
Swipe it. I think he just like tossed it.
But like I guess he didn't know what it was.
I thought I didn't even know. I thought it was his web slinger. I thought his web slinger came off.
Yeah, part of me thought that, but then I remember when I looked at him webbing it, I would have to see that. It was something, it was like an invisible wall. And
yeah, I remember. Yeah. He was trying to web sling the Ferris wheel, and then you see like think of it like a barrier, like a barrier. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird, but I didn't think much of it because all that action is going on and you're not really thinking. And then my first thought was, oh wait, maybe that's just a his shoot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you bring that up, I mean, I did not catch that. I mean, you see it, but it's like the action is going by so quick that you don't even process it.
There's a lot of little things like that in this movie, so if you do watch it, be sure to look out for those. Another corny thing was friggin' what do they call him, Night Monkey? The chick calls him Night Monkey, and then it goes on the news. I was like, are you kidding me? What is this? And then, okay. I will say this. There's one big offender in this movie for me. They screwed up the Spidey sense. Number one, Peter can't activate it until apparently like the end of the movie. Number two, they don't even call it the Spidey sense. They call it the freaking Peter Tingle. That is the dumbest name you could have for it. I don't care if you're a 16-year-old kid. I was assuming like that's just the name his aunt calls it at the beginning of the movie, and by the end, yeah, and I figured by the end he'd come up with the name of Spidey Sense, but no, he doesn't even do that. By the end of the movie, it's pretty much stuck as the Peter Tingle. I'm like, are you kidding me? And apparently now he can control it at will, but he couldn't control it at will before. Like, I don't understand the logic of the Spidey Sense at all. And like, I feel like he should have mastered it by now, or at least have more control over it. It only came into play pretty much in the last scene, or the final fight. The one scene I definitely want to talk about, the happy plane scene. Pretty much like he's becoming Iron Man, because Happy's like, you don't got any tech. What are you gonna do about it? And he does exactly what Iron Man does in the first movie, and like the old school Iron Man movies, where he creates his own suit, does it all from scratch without any help from anyone. And I think at that point is when I told myself he's going to be, like, I knew before this, during Endgame, we had people like Jason telling us he's going to be the leader of the new Avengers. At that point, that's when I solidified it in my mind that Spider-Man is literally going to be the new Iron Man. Like, that's what they're pushing for.
You think so?
I definitely think that's what they're pushing for, because they want him. And
I don't know. I think there's better
candidates, maybe. I mean, more experienced people for sure.
I thought Doctor Strange would be the next leader.
I don't think he would want to lead though. He'd want to stay more hidden than anything. Oh, he has the black suit, by the way. I thought that was going to be the noir suit, but it didn't end up being that. He goes in to fight Mysterio because he figures out he's bad, and MJ also finds out that he's Spider-Man, by the way. I mean, that was pretty much going to happen regardless. And he goes to fight Mysterio, and then when he does that, Mysterio's like, nope, you're not even going to touch me. Does all these crazy illusions. You see a freaking zombie Iron Man when he's like, you could have saved, you could, if it's all your fault, Tony died, pretty much is what he's saying. And zombie Iron Man comes out, and freaking, at that point, Peter's, he even goes as far as to fake being Nick Fury so he can get info out of Peter. Which was smart. And would you, so I know you, like, I guess explain more about why you didn't like the whole illusion thing.
Because it's just, it's whack. I thought Mysterio was the type, I thought he used magic. And I thought he was, like, it would have been cool if he actually did use magic. Because, like, the whole illusion thing reminded me of the Scarecrow from Batman. How, like, Scarecrow uses your deepest fears and then, like, makes them come to life. I thought that was going to be Mysterio's, like, thing. And then, Spider-Man trying to, like, come to grips with, like, the fact that he doesn't want to be Iron Man, but he has to be. Or what he has to be his successor, at least. And then, trying to fight Mysterio all at the same time. But, I mean, just the fact that it's illusions. The guy doesn't have any powers. I mean, it's just, he has the holograms and he has a whole team of people helping him towards the cause, which, mind you, during the final battle after Peter defeated Mysterio, remember what that one guy did? He downloaded something from the computer.
You remember that? I
forgot
about that. That was a small detail.
Yeah, it was a small detail, but he downloaded something. I don't know if it was maybe like technology.
It said drones. It said drones on it. So I think he still has the drones.
He's definitely going to come back.
Because remember, Peter, at the end, he gets Edith back from Mysterio, and he tells them to execute
them all at the drones.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they got destroyed. I think they just got deactivated.
Did they? I thought they went back to the satellite thing.
Or maybe they went back to the satellite. So I think that guy has all the data. So maybe he can recreate, because that was the dude from Iron Man 2, I think, right? That was the scientist from Iron Man 2. Who they were asking him to recreate the suit.
I think it was the first one.
Or first Iron Man. Yeah.
And where he yells at him.
Yeah, so I think that guy's gonna try to do something with that. I don't know.
I mean, I thought that was cool. It was like a little, like, like a continuation for like the whole thing. But the illusion thing, I can't roll with it. I honestly think that they could have pulled off a magic Mysterio. I think that would have been cooler because it kind of fits the name Mysterio. You'd think that he'd have powers kind of similar to Doctor Strange, and that's what I was really hoping for. But the whole illusion thing was just like, damn, it's like getting a present in Christmas and it turns out it's socks. It's whack.
Let's go into mid credits and after credits. So mid credit scene, pretty interesting fact. I have people that I work with at my film school, and they were on set when they filmed that mid-credit scene, which is pretty interesting. Now, the mid-credit scene is Spider-Man swinging MJ through the city because, now they're together and all that. And he stops, and then on the news, you see, I don't know, what's his name? JJ.
Jonah Jameson. Yeah.
And then, instead of the Daily Bugle, it's like a net thing
and
now.
It's the OG Jameson.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire.
Maguire, yeah.
That's the one thing they did right. I like that.
Yo, it's canon that both Spider-Man are in multiverses now. Anyway. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Two Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse.
Please let it happen.
Live action Spider-Verse.
Please let that happen. Bring Toby back.
No, but
Hashtag bring Toby back.
There's a video. Peter gets basically accused of being the dude that did the wrong here, killed Mysterio in cold blood, all this crazy stuff. Other than that, they also reveal that Peter is Spider-Man to the entire world. And this is my strongest case in point to Peter becoming the next Iron Man. What other superhero is out there aside from Cap? Well, I wouldn't even say Cap's real identity is known. What other superhero aside from them are known for their full identity that's lives on Earth? Because Thor, yeah, obviously people know him, but he's not even like from Earth. The only person was Iron Man. It was Tony. People knew who Tony was. Now everyone knows Peter's Spider-Man. I feel like he has to take the mantle now.
I mean, it depends, because like if you watch the video, they never showed.
They showed a picture of him.
They showed a picture, but you remember when he showed the little portion where he said execute them all?
Yeah.
It was just his bottom half. It was never his face.
No. But remember after that.
Yeah, no. It showed a picture of Spider-Man, and then it showed a picture of Peter Parker. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Peter is Spider-Man, because you don't see him in the suit in the video.
No, you don't see that, but Mysterio specifically says, I know who Spider-Man is. His name is Pete, and then it cuts off, and then he says Peter Parker. He says it fully after that.
I mean, that's
why Spider-Man's so surprised that he's like, oh crap, pretty much, because he knows, like everyone knows now.
So I guess I don't know. I still think that Doctor Strange would make a better leader, but I mean, I can see your point. I can see where you're coming from. I mean, now that everybody knows that who he is, I mean, it kind of like forces him to live as like that mantle, like live as like hey guys, I'm Spider-Man. I was in the Avengers. Like I'm people are probably gonna like point to him and be like, oh, like what you're the leader now. It's like
yeah, like there's a threat. What do we do?
Yeah.
Like pretty much. I don't know. I mean. I'm pretty sure. Oh, and then I guess after credit scene, and then we'll just do closing thoughts. So after credit scene, this is a theory that was there since Captain Marvel came out. Nick Fury and what's her name, Maria Hill, I think. They're both Skrulls. The ones we saw at least
from the beginning, right?
Apparently from like the first Avengers movie, because, and I kind of thought that after watching Captain Marvel too, is that like there was 2 Skrulls that were missing in that movie. I don't know if you saw Captain Marvel. Okay, but in that movie, there's like a group of them in the beginning, and 2 of them are just never seen again, or it might have been 1. I don't remember. Either way, Nick Fury is one of those, and they pretty much have been just on Earth, while the real Nick Fury has been chilling with probably in the universe somewhere.
With the Skrull army.
Yeah, with the Skrull army, and I'm pretty sure he has contact with Captain Marvel whenever he wants at this point. So I'm wondering where that's going to lead. Is that like the new S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is S.H.I.E.L.D. like now universal? Well, here's the other thing. That the main theme of this movie was Spidey wanted to be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now they said, no, you pretty much can't be that. Not with the way the world is now. So I think they're really trying to open up the door to something new. But, those are pretty much our thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. Clearly we have different opinions, but I feel like whenever the next Spider-Man gets announced, I'm going to be right in front of my seat, ready to see it, and I can't wait. And as far as Marvel Phase 4 goes, who knows what's going to happen next, but I'm definitely excited to see what they're going to try to freshen it up.
I know for a fact the third one was going to come out, but I'm not going to go see this third one movie. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Even if they put your favorite villain, whoever it is from Spidey's universe. Who is your favorite villain, I should say?
I like, what's his name? Green Goblin. Yeah, Green Goblin's super
Harry's
cool.
not even in the series.
Yeah,
damn,
which is
that's
weird.
Crazy.
Let's assume maybe the third movie, it's time jump. He goes to college, then he meets Harry. That would make sense. That's probably the only. I don't want to put myself through this cheesy mess of a series.
Yeah,
but
Homecoming came out in 2017. So
but I mean, if it's for you guys, yeah, I'll go see the damn. I'll go see the movie. I'll put myself. I'll get. You know what? I'm not. I'll put it this way. My expectations will be very, very low. They'll be low. I'm not gonna be expecting too much.
Well, with that being said, those are our thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll catch you guys on the next video that we do. Don't know if it's going to be another movie review or not. There aren't too many more coming out this year that, at least that I'm not excited for. So maybe some of our other group members may review some for you. But, you know, until the next movie review or whatever other videos you want to check out on the channel, we'll continue to post for you guys. So be sure to check it out. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Later.